Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this edition of I Didn't Know That Was a Job. I am super honored to be here with Erin Dietrick today. Erin is another person that we know that has an amazing job that you probably didn't know existed, and she's going to talk with us about it. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Jorhena. How are you?
I'm great. So excited to chat with you today.
Me too.
All right, you guys. So, Erin works at the intersection of museum education, podcasting, and research, which you probably didn't expect me to say, but it's true. So, we're going to talk about what she does, how she got there, some of the things that she maybe would have told her younger self. So, Erin, so can we just start by you telling us what it is that you do?
Yeah, so I am the Programs and Podcast Assistant at the International Spy Museum, which is a lot of words. So let me break that down. So I'm blessed to be able to work at the International Spy Museum. It is a fascinating place to work. It is a place where you learn something new every day, something that you probably never thought you would learn in your lifetime, something I certainly didn't. And my job, Programs and Podcast Assistant, I work on the education team at the Spy Museum, and our goal really is to share the history, to share the current um, happenings of the national security world, of the intelligence world. Our job is to share that with everybody that we possibly can. So my job specifically is mostly producing our in-house podcast, which is Spycast. And most of my job is that. And then another half of my job is working with the programs team on all of the amazing programs that we produce throughout the year. We do hundreds of programs a year. So I am a helper on a lot of those, a lot of our in-house programs in the building, which are really fun that we get to do. And then a lot of our virtual programs too. So I am able to connect with people both in the DC area and around the world, which is a huge, huge honor, and to be able to help people understand connecting with intelligence and national security. It's really fun.
Yes, Erin. And for those of you who have not been to the Spy Museum yet, highly recommend 5 stars.
Yes, thank you. And please, yes, please come visit us. We are open year round. There's only 2 days we're not open. That's Thanksgiving and Christmas. So please come around when you are in DC. We'd love to have you.
For sure. And the Spycast podcast is also great. Great. They have all different types of people on there, and it's wonderful.
Yes.
So, Erin,
One of
so
those
what's
people, including Jorhena. One of those people, including
very
Jorhena.
kind, very kind. So, what's unique about your work? I know you meet a lot of different people, and you get to see what other people do. What do you think is unique about what you do in this really interesting role?
Yeah. So I think podcasts are incredibly unique in the museum space. Um, Spycast really was one of the first museum podcasts in the, it really was one of the first podcasts. It started in 2006, the original executive director of the Spy Museum, Peter Ernest. And it has been going on since then. So we're at like 18 years now. And it's one of the oldest podcasts in the podcast space. It's one of the oldest podcasts in the museum space. Um, it's an excellent opportunity to connect with people from around the world, kind of like I said earlier. And the ability to sit down every week with a different expert in history, in intelligence from around the world, and national security from around the world. I mean, the opportunity really is kind of like it's like a one-on-one lecture with an expert every single week. So it is I never imagined that I would be in this space and have the opportunity to talk to the kinds of people that Andrew and I get to talk to every week. I mean, really, it is um, it is so exceptional. The information, the lessons that we get to learn every week and share with hundreds of thousands of people around the world. It is an incredibly unique opportunity, one that I'm very thankful I get to be in the role of.
I bet it just sounds like such a fascinating job. So I understand that you didn't go to school for podcasting. So if I remember correctly, history and museum studies is what you
Yep.
studied in school, right? So
Yes.
what would you tell folks about like how you've navigated challenges, how you've navigated just coming to a space that you didn't necessarily study for?
Hmm. Yeah, I knew. So when I did my undergrad in history, and I knew when I was doing my undergrad in history that I didn't want to ever sit in a stuffy library and read books all day or look at old pieces of paper. I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to share that history. I knew I wanted to help people to understand things that were going around, things that were going on around them, or things that happened in history that have informed where we are today. Um, so then I took myself to a museum studies master's, and I studied public education and public programming in my master's program. And it's funny, I started working at the Spy Museum about 3 years ago, and I was on the guest services team. And my dad told me about this podcast that the Spy Museum had. And he said, Erin, if you're not listening to it already, you have to listen to it so that you can understand the museum better and help visitors better when they're in the museum. And I said, oh, thanks, Dad. And I started listening to it, and I met Andrew one day, and I said, what you're doing is so fantastic. What a wonderful way to help people, better understand what the museum is all about. And eventually I ended up in this role with Andrew working on the podcast. And you're right, I did not go to school for podcasting. So I've had to learn quite a bit about, all of the audio technology, all of the softwares that we use. But it's been a lot of fun learning. That's one of the things that I am absolutely a supporter of is lifelong learning. One thing that has been a constant in my life is I will always continue learning even after I'm out of school, after K-12, after my undergrad, after my graduate. I never want to stop learning new things. And that's one of the things that I'm so grateful for in my job and at the Spy Museum. It's like I said in the beginning, we learn a new thing every single day. I never walk out of work not learning something new that day, whether it be about my role in podcasting or whether it be about something in spy history that I never knew that most people will never know.
Yes, Erin. Okay, so let me ask you one more question before we wrap up. And that is, who would you say this type of job is good for? Mm-hmm. What type of personality, what type of like interests?
I would say really anybody who is passionate about education and passionate specifically about public education and about helping just the average person on the street to learn more about a particular topic that is oftentimes very difficult to understand. It's great for creative people. The museum field is really a haven for creative people who have great ideas on really just engaging the public on a number of different things. And I would say people who are just passionate learners, who have a real thirst and hunger for always continuing to learn more.
I love it. And, talking about museums and talking about national security in the same breath is not something that you hear very often.
Yeah.
So for those younger folks who are interested in the national security space, understanding how public education and museum work intersects with that is eye-opening. So thank you, Erin, for sharing this time with us today. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you and bye-bye.